What do Falcons do? Rise up. Welcome to Rise Up Reactions, the show where we talk all things Falcons, NFL, Georgia sports, and in general the sports news of the day. Coming to you by the time of this post, it'll be a victory Monday. The Falcons defeating the Carolina Panthers at home to open up as the NFC South division leaders going into week 2. Got to wear my shirt, my homage shirt for the Falcons. Got to hang out with a friend at the game. I just in real time have gotten back from the game within the last hour and have been thinking about what I really wanted to say about this game tonight on the video to post tomorrow, which would be Monday. A lot of thoughts. It's very, very good to win. My voice is about shot. I've been cheering for football all weekend, whether it be UGA, stomping Ball State, whether it be watching the Texas and Alabama game with some people last night, whether it be today with the start of NFL action, for every team basically. And particularly being in Atlanta where the atmosphere was just absolutely electric. It's the first time since I've been a season ticket holder that I felt like there was genuine excitement. But let's go ahead and start. I don't have much of a voice, so we're going to try and work through this as much as possible. There's one MVP of this game, and he was worth every frickin' penny that we spent on him this offseason. Jesse Bates III. 2 interceptions, absolutely destroying and keying in on anything that Bryce Young wanted to do. 2 interceptions and a forced fumble. Beautiful challenge. Perfect challenge by Arthur Smith. Perfect turnover there and winning the turnover battle for the Falcons. That was great. Jesse Bates and really the secondary in general. We allowed, I think, under 150 yards passing, which was great. It's exactly what we needed to do was to limit Bryce Young. And Desmond Ridder didn't look terrible, but he didn't look great either. There were a lot of throws that looked really bad, and some of it I don't think was his fault. I apologize. My cat does not see me in a couple of days and probably is going to want to come up here in a minute. Let's start with our offense. The run game is exactly what we need to be pushing. But we got into situations, pause please. Oh, hey, Suya. We got into situations very early on and throughout the game where we were not able to establish a run game because we shot ourselves in the foot after a big play to go back and start it for 1-20. And Desmond Ridder was not willing, seemed scared to make big throws in situations where we needed him to pick up massive amounts of yardage. And it seemed like our game plan on offense, if we ever fell way behind in the yardage, was pass that didn't work, run for a couple of yards, bubble screen pass or screen pass to the running back or hit the running back in the flat, something like that to try and get additional yards. Now, for our lone touchdown pass from Ridder early in the game to Bijan, worked beautifully. He shed a tackle and was able to get into the end zone. Welcome to the NFL, Bijan Robinson. I think a lot of people are going to be upset from a fantasy standpoint that he was not seen very often in between or in the red zone. Algier coming out looking like a man on fire, a man on a mission, someone who was angry that he got put at the number 2 position. And we showed that very similar to the Lions, we're probably going to have kind of a 1-2 punch where we have a bruising workhorse back in Tyler Algier, and we have a more finesse pass-catching back, Alvin Kamara, Saquon Barkley hybrid in Bijan Robinson. Drake London, I think, had no catches. He had 1 target, and he dropped it. And he just came at a very critical time and was absolutely terrible. We didn't really go back to him at all anymore. I think there was 1 play that got called back. Again, another one of those penalties that got called back where he didn't actually get yardage. But he basically was a goose egg if you were playing him in fantasy. And then Kyle Pitts, he had a couple of passes. One got called back. That was beautiful. And another one late in the game that I don't know why they called pass interference. It really was never pass interference. It was just, they kind of ran into each other, but Pitt still came down with the ball. That set us up for one of the touchdowns late. But Pitts looked pretty good whenever he got a chance to have the ball, but I believe he only came down with 1 or 2 catches total. I would have to see the box score here. I think it was 1 catch, maybe 2. Yeah, he came down with 2 catches for 44 yards on 3 targets, and that one long 34-yard pass. Again, most of our offense came off of the Jesse Bates turnovers that were caused, and again, we just seemed to really shoot ourselves in the foot in a lot of different situations. We did not have a lot of yards. We had 130 through the air, 115 on the ground. So we did most of our damage in short field position thanks to turnovers. But we did what we needed to do, and we won. And that's really all that matters from that end of things. Let's go to the defense. If you had asked me a year ago what part of the defense would be better, or really going into the offseason with all the moves we made, what part of the offense or the defense would I think would be better? I'd have told you we're going to have pressure on the quarterback all day long. And that didn't happen. We didn't have pressure on, not really, on Bryce Young. But what we did do is our secondary came in and played absolutely phenomenal. Our secondary limited medium and distance passes. We were helped out by the fact that Bryce Young was very inaccurate past about the 25-yard mark on trying to complete passes. And we were also bailed out several times by some poor route running or miscommunication with Bryce Young and his receivers. You had Lorenzo Carter getting a sack. You had Grady Jarrett and Troy Anderson getting a half sack each on the same play. Really, Troy Anderson, in the game when I was there, he was the one getting most of the credit on the Jumbotron, and people kind of attributing it to him. But the stats keepers kind of gave it to both of those guys. But it was disappointing, to say the least, to see what should be a revamped defensive line continue to get very minimal pressure on the quarterback. And to not really, especially in the first half, stop the run with any efficiency. It seemed like they were able to run the same play over and over again, which was either off tackle for big yards or counter for 10 to 15 yards. And Chuba Hubbard he looked better, but they ended up giving more carries to Miles Sanders. They ran a triple option from time to time that most of the time seemed to pick up big chunk plays. But again, the heroes of this game were the secondary. Trey Flowers making a big play to stop a massive run by Chuba Hubbard in a couple of spots in the game. A.J. Terrell being literally like white on rice to anybody that he was paired up against. I can't recall a situation where he did not play perfect defense on what he was supposed to be doing if he was involved with the play. Jesse Bates, again, worth every penny. We underpaid him for what he did today, if that's the type of production he's going to bring and the type of leadership he's going to bring. And even Richie Grant, a guy who has kind of struggled through his first 2 years, now that he's not being asked to do everything, ended up looking like a second-round draft pick, getting in early on a pass breakup that really should have been an interception, to have yet another one. So altogether, we really looked pretty good from a defensive standpoint, but we have got to plug up those holes in the run game. The pass defense was phenomenal. The run game's got to get better. It has to. We're going to be going up against Green Bay, who at the time of making this video, I don't know how the game ended at this point, but at the time of making this video was up on Chicago 24-14. We're going to have the A.J. Dillon, Aaron Jones show coming to town. We're going to have Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, and possibly, if he's healthy, Christian Watson, along with a guy who's been sitting on the bench for several years but has looked like a competent quarterback in his first real debut in Jordan Love. And they're coming to town. And I know Grossi is probably going to be all over the hype train this week. He's going to be picking his team to win, but this is a game that we really need to win. I don't think this team, the way they play today, could beat Green Bay the way they're playing today. I don't think we could beat the Lions in Detroit the way we played today. We have to work on the things that absolutely caused us problems, or it's going to be a very long year. I am so thankful to get this win. Again, it is great to be number one in the division right now, and I can very easily see us being 2-0 at the end of next week. But I'll do a little bit more of a recap on that, or a little bit of a preview later on in the week. I'm not sure how I'm doing on pick'ems. I know I picked the Saints, and I picked against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield, I didn't get to see the game because they were going out at the same time, but just following the stats, it looked like it was a tale of two halves for Baker Mayfield. Don't know what the heck happened with Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to have to play them later on. When you have over 250 yards of passing in the first half, I assume you're going to win the game, but I don't know what happened there. I'm going to have to watch highlights there. It was a good game overall for the Falcons. We did what we needed to do. The turnovers helped, but it was a very sloppy game. And we're going to have to really tighten down and work on the things that screwed us this week. Guys, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you so much to the 163 of you who have subscribed so far. I'm trying to get to that 500 marker by the end of this season. It would really mean a lot to me if you would go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that more of my content can reach more Falcons fans and really more NFL fans in general. Again, thanks for watching. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for subscribing. And as always, guys, rise up.